Maybe I can still have every time. Because I can just walk.
这是签售会的高潮，欢迎我们每一个弟兄姐妹能够到这里来，我非常的荣幸能够站在这个位置上，能够主持这次 event， 非常有意义。其实，在华人界里有很多人比我更有 qualify， 更有声望 ，I'm nobody。但是呢，我只知道我是一个美国人，我是一个 Christian。看到希杰写的书，再加上我在希杰过去的这5年中，他怎么样一步一步的写了第一本书、第二本书，我和希杰一起经历了很多 ，I experience a lot. I have to make some. Do you mind if I speak English?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's an honor. It's an honor to be here, present host this meeting. Everybody is in God's hand. I do as much I can do, and I hopefully the message from this event will resonate, will share with more people. So because I assume we are here because the same value, because we are now American. We are American. We know what happened if we American take the same routes it's going on, because we see the clean path. It step into the way happen in the country where we are from. I think back then I don't think America ever has the left radical. Right now it's everywhere. It polarized the country, right? They didn't attack America because 100 years ago it was not their timing. It happened in China though. So we just we know we are the whistleblower. We are sent by God to be the messenger. We need to make our voice louder. That's why we are here today. Right now, we don't care. The devil always want to play division. They want to separate people. When we are separated, we are weak, right? They can use one group of people against another. That's a typical tactics. There are also a lot of liars in the mainstream media. People are brainwashed, are mesmerized. When I send out the flyers of this event to a large group, probably 500, close to 500 people, and the message, the feedback I got from is one message: how dare you? How dare you to send this message at a time of 2 sessions? Do you know who session is? 两会期间，你怎么这么大胆 ？2 session is the Chinese right now. China is is hosting the most significant events in the country. It's the national congression and the national, I think, consultative committee, something like that. I forgot that, but it's very significant. So it's like why people even came to the States, claim to have the best freedom of the world, still affair, still scared of something. This is something like a built into gene. Like this is generation after generation, people are scared. That's why we need to make the voice of these people, this book, we need to raise the voice. We need to let message cross more people, get more in the hand of more people. So that's why we are here. So I think this, I speak my mind already. So I let the Xijie make a brief statement or something. Then we start. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It means so much for me and my co-author to be invited here to help to promote the book. And and you're always there for me. Last time too, helped me to promote my first book. So I really, really appreciate every one of you. Last time Su Ping was the one and arranged everything. And so always thank you. Just a few words about myself, just in case some of you may have met me for the first time. And I really, talking about being nobody, I have spent like 30-some years in America being a nobody, because I love being a nobody and just work on my American dream, get a job, get a house and bigger house and whatever. I paid no attention to politics until I start to see troubling signs. And so to me, the turning point is 2020. I think that's the case probably with a lot of people. I started to see that the Cultural Revolution is now on the American street. And so I decided to do something. And so it's just a small step. I decided to go to Loudoun County School Board just to have just 1 minute of the time they allowed to tell them that what's going on in America, what's going on in our school is America's Cultural Revolution. And I have no idea. That really put me on the media spotlight. I mean, overnight, the video went viral, and I found myself an accidental activist. But since then, I embraced that role, and I've been working to educate American people. In 2022, I quit my job. That was a big, big decision to write a book. Never thought about writing a book in my entire life. And that was the book, Made in Mouse America, A Survivor's Warning. And it was so well received. And I'm so grateful. And I'm so grateful for all the help I got from my fellow Chinese patriots. But through the time, and I've been to, interviewed and meeting with local people of different organizations, I realized there are more questions that need to be answered. And a lot of people still consider, even though more and more people realize Chinese Communist Party is our greatest threat, but and a lot of people still think that was an external threat. And so I know that my job is not done. I still need to write another book to educate American people and educate American people about this very, very inconvenient truth that CCP did not come and just pop up in China by itself. Every step of the way, it got support, willingly or unwillingly, knowingly or unknowingly, by the United States of America. And I know this is going to be a tremendous undertaking because I want to trace back to the very beginning. And so I'm so grateful that I was able to find a great co-author, Yu Jie. Not only that, we're from the same place, Chengdu, China. We live like within 20 minutes drive from each other, right here in Northern Virginia. It was really a gift from God. So we decided to work together to undertake this project. And so in this book, we trace back more than 100-year history from the very beginning, and in the early 19th century, and traced every step of the way how communism, Leninism came to China, and how CCP took over China, and how step by step CCP was rescued by the Americans. And eventually we opened the door and let this communist regime came to the world order that America helped to build after World War II, and then opened our door. Now CCP's influence and infiltration can be found in every aspect of American life. And so why we do this? Because we want to warn American. Communist Party, Chinese Communist Party is a threat. It's not just over there. It is here. And actually it started here. And without understanding this, we have no chance to defeat communism, and we have no chance to save America. So, and I think this is what this book is really about. It's about CCP, but it's more about America. Mm-hmm. How we failed again and again to understand the nature of communism. How we let this snake into our country. And that's why in the very beginning, I used the story of the farmer and the snake. You can blame how evil the snake is. You can do all that. But if you fail to understand, snake is a snake is a snake. It is in its nature to attack the person who saved it, which is the farmer, which is the United States of America. So I'm just so grateful. Now we have Yu Jie here. He is such unknowing name to American to Chinese readers, and a dissident writer, and he has absolutely a wide, in-depth knowledge of the CCP. So without him, this book is impossible. So I'm so glad he's here to tell us more about his insight of why we write this book and what we should get out of it. Thank you so much.
Can I excuse? Yeah. Sorry, I have to change the timetable a little bit. So the purpose of this event, right, to let people understand what's laying ahead of us. So we have a lot of things happening right now. So that's why we have we need to have the voice come out, and I'm happy to see my old friends, Rosie Oakley. She's here. She's wonderful. Let her, this is the message we need to carry on by American who born here, and American come from treat American as adopted country. We need to work hand in hand to make this message cross. So give it up for Rosie.
Hi there. My name is Rosie Oakley, and I'm with the Fairfax County Republican Party. And first of all, I just want to say it is always such an honor to be in your presence. You are incredibly courageous. We're so grateful, and it's a pleasure to meet you as well, and I can't wait to hear. I want to just make everyone, how many of you are in Virginia? How many of you live in Virginia? Okay. So we have a redistricting referendum coming up. And I just want to read you, this was brought about by the Democrats. Oh, sorry. Okay. This was brought about by the Democrats in Richmond, and they are trying to change the Virginia congressional map from 6 Democrats to 5 Republicans to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. Okay? That means that 91% of the representation in Congress for Virginia would be Democrats. Okay, I want to read you what the proposed amendment says. So when you go to vote between now and April 21st, this is what you're going to hear. Question: should the Constitution of Virginia be amended to allow the General Assembly to temporarily adopt new congressional districts to restore fairness in the upcoming elections while ensuring Virginia's standard redistricting process will resume for all future redistricting after the 2030 census? If you read this and you don't know anything, you are going to vote yes. Of course we want to restore fairness. This is not what this is about. So my whole message this morning, and I thank you very much for the opportunity, is this election is critical to Virginia. If the Democrats end up with 10 Congress representatives in November to 1 Republican, what do we think the first order of business is going to be? Impeach Trump. That's what this is all about. They want to take over the House and they want to impeach Trump. So I beg you, honestly, please go and vote no, and get your friends to vote no and put it out on social media. We have these flyers at the back of the room. I can also send an electronic version to Daniel to share, but I encourage you all to take this so seriously. Early voting is open now, and Election Day is on April 21st. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
很重要的事情，我一定要用。这里可能大家在门口这个 hallway, there are more flyers at the hallway. You can find them. Okay, take one, as many as you can. We don't have many people, so you are free to take away and just send out the message. To tell the people surrounding you. It seems it's like just send out the flyers in digital form. No longer work. You need to talk to people. You use your words. Use your belief. Use your faith to convince people. We have a short window to make this happen. OK， 就是在那个 hallway 有这个大概有200多张，大家尽可能的拿，告诉周围的人，也去散发。因为在我自己用我自己的例子，我在4年前我是一个跟这个世界没有关系的人，但是我也知道，如果我把我的指望寄托在别人的身上的话，那只有这跟着世界一起堕落。好，现在就把时间交给我们今天的 co-author， 于杰先生。
好，大家好，非常谢谢大家在这个周末，本来应该是这个休息的时候来听我们来这个分享一个非常严肃的而且有争议性的这个话题。我先简单做一点这个自我介绍。我在中国的时候，我是中国家庭教会的基督徒，所以对我来说，跟我的生命一样重要的是那宗教信仰的自由。同时，我又是一个作家，所以对我来说，那言论自由是非常重要的。但是因为我有这2个身份，所以就被中国共产党政府当作那国家的敌人，受到残酷的迫害。所以后来我们家就被迫在2012年1月份离开中国，流亡到这个美国。下面一张。所以这个左边的这张照片是我们2012年1月11日抵达美国的那一天的这个照片，然后右边的这张照片是几个月以前的14年以后的这个照片。大家可以看到我们的小孩大概成长的已经比我高了半个头。在我们家里有一个这个传统，我们到每年我的生日的时候，会把我写的书放起来，跟我的儿子比这个身高，所以这个我的书的这个高度已经比他还要高了。我现在已经完成了超过100本书。但是让我最骄傲的不是我写了多少本书，而是我们的儿子在美国非常健康、幸福的这个成长，而且他建立起很坚定的信仰。我举一个例子，他在全美国最好的这个高中 Thomas Jefferson 的高中这件书，他今年高中毕业，他现在已经拿到了6个第一流大学的通知书。但是更重要的是，这2年以前，他们学校进行这个模拟的这总统选举的这投票，他是他们全班唯一一个投票给这个川普的。这让我感到非常欣慰，
因为效果不好，下面很多人在反映。
让我下一个。当我到完美国以后，我以为我的使命仍然是这个批评中国共产党。但是当我在美国生活的时候，我发现美国本身正面临着非常严重的这个危机。正如这个西底所说的，共产党不仅在中国，共产党已经进入了这个美国。所以那去年，我很高兴跟这个西底的联系上。再往下面，往下面一个，我们合作完成了《Made in America》这本书。我们希望通过详实的这个史料和深入的这个分析，突破在美国社会所广泛流行的共产主义的这些谎言，能够呼吁更多的不仅是华裔的这个美国人，而且所有的美国人都能够挺身而出，来对抗中国共产党对美国的渗透、控制和破坏，来捍卫这美国的自由、共和和法治。我今天想分享几个话题。第一个话题是美国一手打造了共产中国这样一个怪兽吗？这也是我们这本书的主题。共产党在中国掌握权力，在我看来有3个原因。第一个跟中国传统文化的这个关系，中国传统文化是一个皇权的，皇帝垄断权力的，这个无神论的，这个大一统的这样一个文化传统，它跟马列主义之间有契合性。我用一个比喻来说，就好像中国文化 是一个电的这个插座，共产主义跟马列主义是一个外来的插头，这个插头跟这个插座一下就契合起来了。第二个原因当然是这个苏联的扶持。这个列宁那很早他就说要控制中国，控制中国就等于控制这个亚洲，就能够用这个亚洲的庞大的人力物力和资源来打败他们最大的敌人，最大的资本主义的这个国家，这个美国。第三个原因是长期以来美国对华政策的非常严重的错误，可以说是一个错误接着一个错误，这些错误打造出了中国这样一个人造的怪物。从1921年，就说中国共产党建立，到1949年，中国共产党在中国夺取了政权，美国对中国共产党和中共政权一直是抱一个非常错误的这个认识。大部分美国的政策的这些决定者，他们认为中共不是苏联共产党那样一个典型的这个共产党，是一个农民的政党，是一个通过土地改革来改善农民生活的一个儒家文化的这个政党。这是一个非常大的这个认识。然后到了后来，又把中国当做一个所谓的利益相关者。这种误判，我想有中共长期的统战这个宣传的这个结果，也是美国内部的这些左派，还有用个比喻就叫拥抱熊猫派，就他们还有相关的这些利益团体，他们长期对中国进行这个绥靖主义的外交政策。这个错误其实从这威尔逊就这开始了，然后到后来到这个罗斯福，所以表面上看美国赢得了第一次世界大战，但是真正的胜利者却是这个苏联。美国赢得了第二次世界大战，真正的胜利者却是这个中共政权。然后后来到了这个冷战的时候非常重要的一位美国总统尼克森，他因为对美国自身丧失信心，他在这国务卿基辛格的劝说之下，要联合中国才能打败这个苏俄。这是非常大的一个这个错误，这个错误可以说一直延续到这个今天，这个70多年。然后再到了后来，在卡特时候，他抛弃了跟原来可以合作的这个盟友，比如说大家看到现在正在上演的美国对伊朗的这个战争，这个伊朗问题就是卡特所这个造成的，而卡特也是跟中共建交的这美国总统。再到后来，这个雷根总统，当然他是领导跟美国在这个冷战中战胜苏俄的一位非常伟大的总统，但是他的中国政策也是犯了很大的错误。当然我们知道，他是看到1980年代中国有改革开放的这种可能性，然后开始跟中国建立比较好的关系，甚至对中国进行这个一些先进武器的这个军售。但是他的误判了，就是中共的这个改革，因为中共的改革只是这个经济改革，他绝对不会在政治制度上做根本性的这个改革。所以我们看到1980年代最后中国的改革的这个结束是1989年这个天安门大屠杀，然后再到后来这个老布什的时候，老布什曾经在中国做过做美国驻中国的这个代表，曾经骑着自行车在北京的胡同里面这个穿梭，他认为自己懂中国，其实完全不懂。在1989年的天安门屠杀之后，这个鲜血还没有干，他就 悄悄的派出这个特使去中国访问，好像美国做错了事情一样，去讨好这个中国。然后再到后来，克林顿这个执政的时候，他认为他相信一套所谓的这个现代化理论，认为只要富裕了就能够带来这个政治的这个民主。但是这套现代化的理论在中国没有生效，反而中国进入到这个世界贸易组织，进入到这个经济全球化的这个系统中，反过来就破坏这美国，然后再到小布希，因为911以后把反恐作为美国的第一任务，所以认为可以联合中国来帮助美国反恐，所以让中国又赢得了10几年的这个战略的空窗期。再往下，这个奥巴马时候就开始打造所谓的中美国，把中国作为他的这个战略合作的这个伙伴。但是对于这种在外交政策上非常软弱的，那中国反而是很强硬，给了他各种各样的这个羞辱。我上面简单的这个梳理了过去的半个世纪以来这些代表性的总统的错误。当然，错误不仅仅是这个总统，还有其他各个领域的这些人士、这些高官、这些作家、记者、教授、娱乐明星、企业家等等，他们很多人以这个中国人民的老朋友的这个身份，其实他们不是中国人民的老朋友，是中国共产党的老朋友，让中国强大，同时也让美国衰落。中国有一句古话说，这个做铁成醋，就是你打造一个铁器，你如果做错了的话，你很难再把它这个修正过来。那过去我想这就是过去70年美国对华政策的这个错误。即使如此，我想我们还是必须去进行这个修正。因为我们不能够再继续上演这个农夫和蛇的这样一个故事。这川普总统多次讲到这个故事，这个西方是这个耶稣寓言中的这故事，在中国文化中就是也有一个相似的这表述，就叫中国先生和狼的这故事，这就是中国和美国的这故事。那我想这必须来这个扭转这样一种这个错误了。第二方面，我想中共其实是他们一直高喊要来这个灭绝这美国却这个假装没有听到。比如说一个非常有代表性的一个事情是，在去年中国进行这个大阅兵，把他的很多的集权专制的盟友都集中在这个北京，但是这川普总统他就看到了，他做出评论，他说，在你们这个密谋对抗这个美国的时候，请代我向这个普京和这个金正恩致以最热烈的这个问候。当时习近平有个讲话，他说中国是一股重要的重塑全球规则的力量，而且不会害怕去这个挑战这个西方。中国当时纠结了像北韩、俄罗斯、这个伊朗等等这些盟友，然后他甚至这个公开表示说，他们要这些独裁者要活到150岁。我过去几年写了很多关于这个习近平的这个著作，我算是这个华语世界里面这个研究习近平这个最多的人。我这3本书加起来超过1000页。关于美国在中国的这个对华政策，我想这引用曾经做过中国国防部长，也曾经在天安门就参与过这个杀人的，然后10号前他曾经说过的，他曾经在这个军方的这个内部讲话中说，他说要解决这美国问题，那中国一定要占领这一片这个土地，占领这一片土地， 把中国人全部都移民过来。然后他说用传统的武器，用这个核武器已经没有办法了，要用这个生物的，要用生物武器。往下面一页。用这些生物武器和这个化学武器，把现在生活在这里的这个美国人全部消灭掉。然后他甚至谈到，他说这里有几百万所谓的这些华人，他说这些人已经背叛了这个祖国。我们在消灭美国人的时候，把这些人全部消灭掉，这是这个附带伤害。我想，不仅是美国总统，美国的这些对华政策的制定者，所有的美国人都应该来听一听他讲的这段话。前几年的所谓的新冠病毒，在中共的这个叙事中，他们已经开始，他们的官方叙事已经开始把它扭曲成美国对中国这个下毒，所以我们必须来这个面对这样的这个事实。那第三点，捕获这个蔓延。今天美国到了建国250年的时候，但是是美国最危险的这个时刻。在1992年，这苏联的解体，美国赢得了冷战的这个胜利，但是历史没有终结。冷战结束30多年以后，美国社会呈现出非常明显的衰败的景象。美国对自己的文明，对自己的基督教信仰失去了这个信念，被马克思主义的这个意识形态腐蚀，又被大量的非法移民的这个浪潮所淹没，所以它就像一个被白蚁蛀空了的这个大厦一样，外面看还是这个富丽堂皇，但是内部已经千疮百孔。所以我想反共必须包括2个方面，对外是反对共产中国，对内是反对美国的这些极左派的势力。左派在美国夺权，就好像当年的共产党在中国夺权的整个过程一样。第一个方面，基督教文明是美国的根基，要削弱美国，首先就要削弱这个基督教。这10几年以来，我在美国深刻的体验到，尽管没有像在中国那样，因为我是一个基督徒就受到直接的这个迫害，但是各种各样的这些隐形的这些压力已经开始这个产生了。第二个方面，左派来控制教育系统，来从这个幼稚园、小学、中学到这个大学。当然这个希姐她的挺身而出的契机就是在这个教育问题上的发言。然后我的孩子也在 Fairfax 公立学校里面在上学，他常常回来跟我讲到在学校里面这个老师讲的这些内容。如果我们身为家长不花很多的时间帮助他把这些毒素又重新排出去的话，他可能已经被这个洗脑成一个这左派的这个孩子了。第三个方面，我们看到这个媒体不再是这个客观中立的第4权，人为左派的这个宣传工具。就像这个纳粹的宣传部长葛培尔所说的那样，把谎言重复100遍就变成了这个真理。这个《纽约时报》似乎变成了《人民日报》的这个海外版。我昨天看到一篇文章，一位欧洲学者他写了一本那跟我们的这本书这个主题相似的书，也是讨论共产党怎么样在中国这个夺取权力。他认为是暴力和谎言是非常重要的这个2个手段。结果昨天《纽约时报》中文网发表一篇这个书评，他在这最后一站他说，现在帮助中国强大的是这个川普，他用了更多的篇幅来讨论这个问题。那这就是美国所谓的这主流的这个媒体。第4个方面，左派他刻意的造成社会的分裂，制造所谓的好人和这个坏人的这个对立。因为马克思主义的这个核心，我们知道它是强调所谓的 的阶级矛盾、阶级斗争，穷人或者这个工人来反对这个资本家。但是当这个科技发展以后，美国所有的工人都变成了这个有产阶级，他这个阶级斗争的理论很难在美国盛行起来。所以从上个世纪60、70年代开始，一批法国的这些左派的思想家就把所谓的文化马克思主义带入到这个美国来。所谓的文化马克思主义，他们把这个阶级斗争的理论转化成这个种族这个主义的这个斗争，转化成性别的这个斗争，所以来把美国变成一个本来是一个团结的美利坚民族，变成这碎片化的互相斗争的一个社会。第5个方面就是说，我也看到了这个民主党变成这美国共产党，不愿意为这个美国公民服务，宁愿为这个外国人、为这个非法移民来服务。10几年以前，我刚刚到美国的时候，有朋友在跟我谈起这一点，我还不相信。经过这10几年，我看到这个越来越像这2个党。我想就是如果美国能为第2个中国，中国就实现了他们所谓的《孙子兵法》中所说的不战而屈人之兵。当年美国是希望对中国实现所谓的和平演变，没想到美国要被中国反过来的和平演变。如果美国能为第2个中国，我想当年逃离欧洲大陆到这一片新大陆来寻求那宗教信仰自由的那些天路客、那些清教徒们，以及美国的建国之父们，我不知道他们会怎么想。如果美国能为第2个中国，我们这些热爱自由的这些新移民，我们当初历尽千辛万苦就来到这一片光荣和繁荣的地方，我们又会怎么想？所以我想我们必须来这个战斗，我们要为这个自由而战，也为这个美国而战。好，那个最后一点，唯有遏制美国左祸，击败共产中国，美国才能真正的再次伟大。在美国内部，如何让美国再次伟大？我想我们要捍卫基督教的文明，我们要整顿媒体，整顿学校，我们要让这个司法回归司法，要避免情报部门被武器化，我们要让这个美国重新工业化，要去除中国的这个所谓的红色供应链，我们要终止各种激进的左派的进程，比如说绿能、变性、福利政府等等。我想最近这1年多来，我们已经看到川普政府已经在做很多这样的工作了。在外部，美国面对着一个新的邪恶轴心，由中国、俄罗斯、伊朗、委内瑞拉、古巴、北韩等等，他们所组成的一个反美的这个联盟。像中国那这张照片就是上海合作组织，这就是一个为了反对这个美国他们建立的一个联盟。那川普总统那依靠他惊人的直觉和他在第1个任期跟中国跟习近平打交道积累起来的这些经验，他看清楚了一个他的很多前任都拒绝承认的一个事实，就是这个共产中国是攸关美国存亡的核心的第1的首要的威胁。共产中国是美国建国以来遇到的最穷凶极恶的敌人，它的危险性超过了第1次世界大战中的德意志第2帝国，第2次世界大战中的纳粹德国和这个日本，以及这个冷战中的苏联，以及这个反恐战争中的这些伊斯兰原教旨主义的这些势力。所以唯有彻底的击败共产中国，美国才能够 迎来它真正的黄金时代。美国对中国必须有一套比当年的这个冷战时候对付苏联的遏制政策更加全面、更加持久的这个国家战略，比如说建立这民主的防御机制，比如说停止中国化的全球化，孤立中国，切断中国的金流和这个能源，大量减少中国留学生。所以在这一点上，我跟川普总统是有不同的这个看法的。我虽然投票给这个川普总统，但我不是就100%的那支持他所有的这个政策。比如说清理寄生美国社会的中共的这些统战组织，只有这样才能把共产中国打回这个原形。有朋友问我，那马上川普总统要到中国访问了，如果我有机会跟他见面，我有2分钟的时间跟他介绍中国，我可以说什么？那我想我会这样跟他说：仅仅毛泽东时代，共产党就屠杀、迫害、饿死了超过8000万中国人。8000万中国人是一个什么样的概念？8000万人的这个尸体，我们把它抬起来，如果我们按照每个人身高165厘米乘以8000万，它的长度是13.2万公里。地球的周长是这个4万公里。被在共产党屠杀的饿死的中国人，他们的尸体连起来可以绕着地球3圈半。川普总统他的飞机从这沃辛顿 DC 飞到这北京去，他的航程来回是22000公里。毛泽东时代杀害的8000万中国人的尸体的这个长度可以往返6次。也就是说，他在往返6次的时候，他从飞机的窗口往下面看，从起飞到飞到，永远都是尸体。我想我只用跟他说这一段话，他就知道中国共产党是一个多么邪恶的一个组织。好，那最后我想做一个小小的总结。这张照片是2006年的时候，我所在的这北京教会，这个一个小小的家庭教会，这方舟教会，我们在主日聚会的时候，这警察冲进来，他取缔了我们教会，不允许我们自由的敬拜上帝。这是我们在中国这个每天都面临的赤裸裸的这个事实。当然，在那之后，我被中共的秘密警察用这黑头套这个绑架，然后带到一个秘密的地方。这个人是我。持续8个小时的这酷刑折磨，他们把我的这手指放在前面，一根手指的往后面折。他们说你过去写了1000万字来批评党和政府，都是你的这10根手指在这个电脑键盘上这个敲出来的。如果我们把你的手指全部这个折断，你就再也不能写了。我后来就这昏死过去，被送到医院去这个抢救了10几个小时以后，才从死亡线上这个挣扎过来。后来医生跟我说，如果迟送到这个1个小时，我们就没法救你了。我记得我在昏迷的这个前夕，我向上帝祷告，上帝给我这2句话，2句圣经的经文。这一句话说，那杀死身体不能杀死灵魂的，不要怕他们。另一句话说，你们连一根头发都不会损坏。果然，上帝重新让我这个活过来，而且保守我们这一家3口 离开中国，平安的到美国。我想上帝让我的生命这个存活下来，是有更大的使命来赋予我，所以我在美国这14年间，我写了超过70本书，然后非常荣幸的是，那去年跟这个希姐我们合作，有了我们的我的第一本英文书，因为我原来写的都是中文书，面对中文世界的这些读者来说话，现在可以面对这个英文世界更多的读者来说话。我想把我们在亲身经历的那个中共的这个集权暴政，来告诉更多的这个英文世界的这个朋友们，然后我们一起并肩的为美国而战斗。谢谢大家。
太棒，
真的非常棒啊！这个thank you so much to share your experience. I read a few books from Yu Jie 先生, Brother Yu Jie, and I feel like we all have the responsibility to tell the truth about the history. That's what's missing. That's what the Communist Party afraid of. Like that's what right now the mainstream, so-called mainstream media try to twist. Like they make up the full story, the narratives. Like when they talk about economics, they want to globalization. Then when we talk about like geographic politicians, they say it's other, it's not American. It's all connected. You cannot have your narrative both way. So it's like now they try to make the whole world like a small village. No, we see the danger. It's like right now you don't. People no longer have the trust between each other, right? Just like the message I got after I sent out this message, I sent out this flyer. People are scared. People are scared. I was expecting more people to come forward today, but it's fine. It's fine because it means we have a long way to go. We need to don't look upon others' reaction, because if God is working with us, who else we afraid of? 所以非常感谢这个于杰先生这个能够分享这个故事。我们是差不多一个时代的人，我们有这个责任把这个时代那些有些那个 evil spirit 要想它 block 的东西，我们一起能够把它继承下去。我们各自的 experience 能够 put together. That's a true history. We need to pass along. 下面呢，我想请希姐介绍一下这本书。在这本书的过程中，我们一起就是对这个书有贡献的。我想这对我特别有感动的是，我先让希姐说吧。希姐。
No, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that of course it's great that I have a great co-author to work on this book, but also I have a community that's supporting me. It's amazing. I got so many people. Willingly help me and put the time. One of them is Steve Jones, my good friend. And he actually, please. He worked as an editor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And went through chapter by chapter and helped me to not only edit, but help me to see what average American readers would react. What would this make sense to them, or do I need to explain in more detail? Without him, there will be a bigger distance from the authors and readers. With him, the distance is, I think, very small. Thank you.
老外又来演讲。Thank you very much for those kind words. It was an honor for me to help Shijia. Maybe I should say Shi Mei.
Yes,
But
yes,
Shi Van Fleet and Yujia published this great book. I think we all wonder sometimes about how it is that we still have communism in this world after 109 years. So remember, it was November 1917 that the Soviet Union was established, and here we are 109 years later, and we still have socialist societies and communist societies speckled around the world. They've survived, they've even thrived. And how can that be? It's a failed economic system. But I think, and there are many reasons to answer that question, but I think that this book helps to provide a very important reason that most people don't focus on. And that reason is that the United States itself, and by some extension the rest of the Western world, enabled it through our naivete, through our incompetence, and through the sympathies of some of our leaders towards socialism. So I don't want to keep talking on too long. I just want to make that point that I think that's why, in my opinion, that's why this book is so important. And it was an honor for me to help you guys with it. I really enjoyed it. And I hope that it does as well as the first book. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can you pass the mic to Brother Yu Jie so
Okay,
he
okay.
can introduce his friends?
Oh, yeah, you introduce you.
你介绍一下你亲爱的。
好，那今天有一些特别的朋友到现场，对那个中国的维权律师那个陈光诚先生和他妻子的一个礼敬。那请那个光诚讲两句。
还说嘛，
说两句。
好，转过来。
好，非常高兴今天有机会参加这个于杰和细姐先他们的这个合作的这本书。我觉得怎么说呢？其实这些中共对于中国人民的迫害，对于西方世界，尤其是美国的渗透和腐蚀，我们了解中共的人都知道。但很遗憾的是，很多西方人真的对此理解不够。我觉得他们完全还停留在当年对苏共的认识过程中。在美国这段时间，我也接触到一些当年的苏联专家，也就是专门研究苏联的一些非常值得尊敬的老先生们。我跟他们交流的时候，他觉得苏联的解体，美国已经没有敌人了，所以他们把目标转向了其他。当我告诉他中共比当年的苏共更为邪恶，对世界的威胁更大，对美国传统价值的破坏更严重这个时候他们有一种就是说如梦初醒的感觉。所以其实中共绝不只是在迫害中国人，他的魔爪早已经伸到美国，伸到我们西方。他们早已经花大价钱准备渗透西方的这个破坏西方的传统价值，利用美国的自由，破坏美国的自由。前一个阶段可能有两个消息，一个就是中共准备花200万美金来针对美国的一个国会代表进行渗透，那么所有的代表加起来，可想而知在华盛顿要投入多少这种统战经费。第二个就是中共前年在加拿大开一个统战会议，他已经不满足于仅仅通过传统媒体来做他的宣传和渗透腐蚀工作。这个会议的主体精神就是花钱雇佣现在在网上在社交媒体上有影响力的人变成 他的好手，来为中共唱赞歌，来通过他们攻击仍然坚持我们的理想，仍然坚持反共，甚至推动西方一定要灭共，一定要砸烂共产专制这个体制的人进行攻击和破坏。大家看到，自那以后，很多 YouTuber 他们的风向变了，他们开始为中共说话，甚至有些人说啊，共产党是一个组织，是吧？他这个做事有底线啊，这个西方的民运啊，他们太可怕了，他们比中共要邪恶多少多少倍啊！这个他们没有底线，所以呢，长话短说，离开了美国，一旦被破坏，我们将逃无可逃。世界要想真正的和平，真正的让我们人类的文明继续发展，并且发扬光大下去，打烂共产专制，消灭共匪，势在必行，这个绕不开，想躲也躲不开。所以对待魔鬼，对待中共这样的撒旦，我们就是要用火炬，我们就是要用宝剑。对待追求自由民主、追求文明的文明人，我们要举起圣经。谢谢大家。
对，还有这个陈建刚的律师是中国很有名的这维权律师，也是因为做了很多的这些人权案件受到迫害。陈建刚，然后还有这个罗胜春这个女士，她的先生是中国非常优秀的这个维权律师，那丁家喜先生现在被中共判这个重刑，还在这个监狱当中。然后他现在也成立了一个这个人权倡议的这个组织，在这个华盛顿这个 DC 地区做很多的工作。然后有我的老朋友这王志勇牧师和这个师母这个朱素云，他们也是在本地就牧养一个华人教会这个10几年的这个时间，他也是华人牧师中非常少数的敢于这个公开支持这川普和这个白给运动的这个牧师之一。这王牧师要不要讲？
谢谢各位啊，我就简单的说一句话。因为我们在中共国啊，我称中国叫中共国，这个国家是属于中共的私产。像我们这些切身受到迫害的人，了解中共有多么的邪恶，在中共统治之下，人民生活有多么的悲惨。但是我到美国之后，我感受到美国人对于中共的邪恶程度了解的很肤浅，所以我想到一点，就是有能者多劳，多承担责任。像于杰这样的作家，有能力的作家，要多承担责任，将中国的现状、中共的现状、中共的邪恶告诉美国人，告诉全世界，让世界人民对中共有足够的警觉，来捍卫自由、捍卫民主。因为中共它就是不在于世界要伤害他们，中共是要残害民主世界的。现在于杰出的这本书啊，又有希姐用英文来协助，能把于杰的这个中文的翻译成英文，这是一个放大器，能够更多的传播对于中国的这种真相。好，我就说这些，谢谢。
罗胜春有话说。那个我今天本来是没有打算讲话的，但是真的是很感谢于杰和希万女士出这本书，因为我是一个工程师背景的一个人，就是我本来是为了逃避政治，我选择了学理工科，但是最后政治找到我家里，把我心爱的丈夫 我从来不参与丈夫的工作，但是我知道我的丈夫是一个非常正直、勇敢、有智慧的人，从我的身边带走。我是2013年他第一次被抓的时候，我到美国来的。我从那个时候开始重新投入政治，看中国，我才知道中共有多么的邪恶。陈建刚律师刚刚说的对，中国我也称它是中共国。它不是中国人民的中国，是这个共产，就是这个 CCP 的中国。他把所有的宗教都摧毁了，把所有人类的美好的价值都摧毁了。所以我是很早就希望认识希万女士。我是有一次看到她说站起来，也是说要为揭露中共而写书。我呢，我也是为了要跟中共要向外界的人知道中共的邪恶。我也是2024年从公司的高管辞职下来，我在阿尔斯通当质量总监。我从那个辞职出来，我自己成立了一个机构，叫做 Alliance for Citizens' Rights。我的先生当时是追随一个法律学者许志永的理念，做堂堂正正做公民，来做这个中国新公民运动和公民运动。他一直非常低调的帮助许志永做各种各样的事情，但是中共每次都，他们刚刚开始在中国人当中推广堂堂正正做公民，做有声音有态度的公民，这样一个非常简单的理念，中共就立刻把他们俩关起来。他们2013年到2017年，我先生关了3年半，许志永被关了4年。他们俩出来以后，继续倡导大家做堂堂正正做公民，敢于对抗那个集权体制，但是用非暴力抗争的方式，他们提倡的是，但是就是这样，在参加一次就我们这么大小的一个20多人的私人聚会之后，他们2个人分别被强迫失踪。我先生被指定居所居住关了6个月，不见天日，饱受酷刑。许志永博士是2个月以后失踪的，也关了4个月，不见天日，饱受酷刑。现在他们2个人在被延期关押4年之后，被判刑，许志永14年，丁家喜12年。现在他们还在监狱里遭受各种的严管，我们不可以通电话，没有基本的监狱人员的基本权利，我们只可以通过写信，我们的信是被所有的人，不知道多少人被审核过才到我们手里。他的信本来寄给他的姐姐在湖北，只需要1个星期，我每次都3、4个星期之后我才能收到1封他的被经过审核的信。所以我想要在这里说的是，中共的邪恶罄竹难书，我们作为每一个中国人都需要向美国人告诉美国人中共有多么邪恶，中共是不可以合作的一个对象。用韩秀老师的话来说，中共的 DNA 就是邪恶。Americans shall not work with Chinese. If we all choose not to work with this monster, then it will die. Right now, the big problem is all the country are controlled by the benefit of Chinese communism, of their economic infiltration, politically and economically. So I always encourage Chinese. We learn good English. We need to tell the story to your people around you. I especially go to American church because I wish my story, I can tell them someday the threat of United States, how it put on everyone. I wish 就今天吧，我其实希望能看到更多的美国人在会场，说明我们的路非常长，我们需要教育，OK， 就是说告诉更多的美国人， 中共的邪恶，这样才有可能有更多的人站在我们这一边，和我们一起反对中共。谢谢大家。王牧师要说吗？王牧师是我们的理事，我们俩一块，一块做这个公民权利同盟这个机构。哎，是怎么讲的？哦，这样讲。
我这一记
你就拿着。
我原来最早在中国做维权我原来最早在中国做维权，在天安门也差一点被打死但是今天呢，我说3句话了，也特别感谢陈曦女士于杰弟兄不仅是深刻的挖掘了共产党集权政权的邪恶，而且是坚决的捍卫美国基督教的文明。我想这是 positive constructive contributions。第二个方面呢，就是我们一定要知道，当我们讲到共产主义和社会主义的邪恶的时候，我们一定要知道马克思本来是一个基督徒的，我们一定要知道斯大林本身就是受训做俄罗斯东正教的神父的。所以社会主义和共产主义就是否定上帝之后人来拯救世界。所以唯愿我们基督徒唯愿美国的基督徒，我们更多的认罪悔改，要回到美国真正建国的根基 One Nation under God。 好，谢谢大家。
谢谢。
非常好，大家，我希望有更多的人能够来把今天我们这个 message 这个 message 传递出去，而且这个把自己的想法能够成为一个系统，要 back up the truth, back up the story from this book and tell more people. So, that being said, I want more people. Some people actually read this book. I read halfway through the book, and I know some people actually way ahead of me. So, is there any comments, any questions about this book? 你们大家非常欢迎你们大家分享一下这个 book。对，开始哪一位问问题啊？分享你的看见啊？有没有？
看完了，我们再来探讨。
Or just any questions that you have. It doesn't have to be after you reading the book.
Yeah, I have a question to Sivan. Yes, I really admire you just to quit your job in order to write the book. So my question is, how many American friends are aware of you are doing this kind of task? I want to say my organization is one part of is the educate American, educate Chinese, educate American of Chinese history of the devil, what they did, and educate Chinese the Western democracy. It's a kind of double direction education.
Yeah.
So, according to your experience, how we could promote this kind of double education? I wish to hear more about your comment on that.
Well, that's what I've been doing. I have always been trying to educate the Americans, and I tell my Chinese patriots that that they probably do more than I to reach out to the Chinese audience. But that has been what I've been doing from day one, is to educate Americans. And most of the media and the platform I went to is all in English. So because to me, my mission is to educate American public about the dangers and of communism. And so this is something I think I try to make it very clear. And my goal here is to save America.
Same as me.
Save America. Okay. So how to save America? I think one of the things is to understand what is the threat to America. The number one threat to America right now is the communist ideology. But it's easy to say, and because a lot of people don't understand what communist ideology looks like. If I just say communist ideology, says okay, but what they look like? That's the part of the education that I have to do, and then you have to tell them. And DEI is one of them, CRT is one of them, and open border is one of them, and that's how you have to explain. And all these things, no one call them communist ideology because, of course, they don't want to. They don't want to call it. They call it something different. But we know that they are communist ideology because we experienced something similar in China. That's why I think we can do so much to educate Americans, because we say, yes, it's called diversity, it's called equity, it's called inclusion, but it is really communism. Let me explain to you how it worked in China. I think that's the best way to save America, is to explain to them all the things that transgender, or where it's from, they all rooted in Marxism, and we have to use our experience to teach them. I think that's how we saved America. And also the other things. How do we save America? We have to love America. We have to know what America is all about. And now this year is so special. It's the 250th anniversary of the founding of this country. How much do we know? Ask yourself, how much do you know about the history of this country? And if you don't, do something, learn it. And especially we're in Virginia, and it's the land of founding fathers. And go to places like Mount Vernon, like Monticello, and go and visit a few sites. Take your children with you, take your friends with you, and learn a little more about American history. And then you can't defend something you don't really understand. You can't defend something you don't love. How do you love it? You have to know it. And I think this is something I think we all can do more, to learn more about this country we call home.
Yeah.
Agree. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's very, very important to start, not to look upon others, start yourself, right? If you expect somebody, there's always a bridge between communities. If you want people understand your culture, you need to reach out to understand their culture first. Then the bridge, the gap is narrow, right? This is something we all need to be something new. We are all stubborn, I have to say. I'm a lot stubborn. I stick to my idea all the time. But this is God call for a confirmation from all people. From all people, we need to be humble. No longer hold our, because people are very, very. Sorry, but yeah. I mean, we just need to start from ourselves, do what we can do. That's the freedom we truly share. Because, we know, everybody knows inside, probably not admit to the public, we have a weakness, right? But we work within our capacity. That capacity will expand, trust me, because this is what I went through. Also, I witnessed what CJ went through. Like we work together. Sometimes we didn't talk to each other a long time. Every time we talk, we found something new. On the other hand, how wonderful it is.
Yeah, we need to do more community activity, inviting American neighbors to join us.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the start point. We are doing this right now. So I would love to introduce one of beautiful couple. I'm fortunate to work with them on a lot of volunteer things. Tom, can you come over? And I want you to introduce yourself and your beautiful wife.
Oh, do I know you?
First of all, my wife refuses to come up here, so everybody tell her, get up here. This is my wife, Ning Fuentes, born in China in 1966.
No, it's a secret. Woman's age.
No, I know. I'll be amazed how can you look so young. My name is Tom Fuentes. As a result of my wife, I've gotten involved in some of these type of activities. And the first one for me was in 2016 when Trump was campaigning. He was holding a rally in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And so we were going to the rally to attend it. And as we walk up to the sidewalk, there's hundreds of people in line to go through security to get in. We walked up to a group, and there was probably 20 or 30 people there wearing white T-shirts that said, Chinese Americans for Trump. And we've been friends with people from that group ever since. We went in, saw the rally, saw them at many other rallies that Trump was holding in 2016. And then again, this last time when he was running, and it was very exciting to go to those rallies and see Chinese Americans for Trump. And we talked to many of them who were saying basically that they had been born and raised in China, came to America several years earlier, and many of them had started successful businesses here, had homes, and their kids were in school and in college, and really loved being in America. And they all had the same stories that Xi Van Fleet and many of the others here had, which was they had endured the oppression in China during Mao's time, and then after that, and were only too happy and proud to have come to America and become Americans. And they saw the decline that she was talking about and documented in her 2 books. And I really enjoyed in your second book the times that you said you were in elementary school when one thing happened, high school when another thing, and you experienced it. You experienced having to work in the fields, agriculture, and some of the other things. And and it was a pleasure to meet other people as well who had had similar experiences before they came to this country, which is why they wanted to come to this country. And I think that that's the problem we're seeing now, is that so many Americans don't appreciate America. And that's why people that trick them, whether it's communists going back to the 1920s, or whether it's Mandami in New York, basically a communist Muslim, if that's a good match. But we have these people here that threaten our system, and I don't care about your political affiliation, but I'll tell you right now, I think the current Democratic Party is basically
A communist party.
a communist party, absolutely. And and we see that every day. We're seeing it now with their not wanting to fund DHS, even though ICE is already funded till 2029. They still want to disrupt our government and have the system closed down. And and to me, it's a tragedy. And the problem, part of the tragedy, part of the challenge, especially for everybody here that wants to see America change or not change, to be America forever, the way it was designed 250 years ago. And the problem, as I've seen it, growing up here, and for a long time, and during my 30 years at the FBI, is that Americans are complacent because it's a great country. Everybody has what they want. Many of the people in this room living in great neighborhoods, kids going to great schools or colleges now. And that complacency is, well, it's just going to always be, we don't have to do anything. It's always going to be that way. Somebody is always going to rise up and protect us. Someone's always going to come up and make sure that we stay safe. And they just ignore them. And the threats that we've had for years, go back to the 20s, when the CCP was founded, you know, and then that based on Marxism, which goes back to Karl Marx in the 19th century. The promise of everything's going to be for free, everything's going to be, you know, better than it is, the proletariat and the you know, the elites and all of that. And it's a lie, but it sounds great. Mondami getting elected, and I look at this also, part of what I fear the most and what makes me really sick is not just the complacency, but how stupid Americans have become. You know, I see the pamphlet here, they want to redistrict Virginia to make it Democratic. So it doesn't have an even number of congressional districts that are Republican or Democratic, that it's going to be 10-1 by the time they get done with this. And people just don't care. People don't see that as a problem. So what? So what if the country turns blue, turns Democratic? And we've seen this every day for a long time in this country. And Americans are so comfortable in their life that they're complacent. They don't see the threat. And that's why America's been isolationist. We didn't see threats in Europe that led to the First World War to the very end, when Wilson finally dispatched the US military to France in 1917, and the war ended within a year. Or World War II, the isolationists in this country that said, we don't care what happens in Europe. And we watched all of those countries fall, and the United Kingdom being starved. We saw all of that. Nobody wanted any part of World War II, completely isolationist. Then the Japanese attack us at Pearl Harbor, and then, as if that's not enough, Hitler 4 days later declares war on the United States. Then everybody decides, oh, there's a problem, we better do something. So we enter World War II with, I don't know, 5th largest military in the world and all kinds of things like that. In the meantime, the Japanese had already attacked and invaded China in 1937. And, you know, we saw or read the books or the movie about the rape of Nanjing, for example, 300,000 Chinese murdered within 3 months by the Japanese. That didn't bother us either. So what? Until the Japanese invaded or attacked, I should say, Pearl Harbor. So we've seen this over and over and over. We're being told about threats to our country or to the Western world, our ideology, our philosophy, and we don't worry about that. That can't affect, we're not bothered by that until we are bothered by it when we get attacked and we're very weak and can't respond. What's insidious now about what the CCP is doing in this country through DEI and some of the other things that Shivan mentioned is that we don't see that as an insidious threat. It doesn't threaten us physically, although some of our children have gone basically communist in the meantime when they hear this stuff and argue against America or argue against the ideals. And we don't see that as a problem either, right? Yeah, so what? And I think that's where the big problem is, that everybody in this room and everybody that you talk to in the community, the fact that they're in the community makes it hard to convince them because they're comfortable. They're complacent. CCP can't really take over the United States, can't really do all of this kind of damage. And the problem is we don't see China warships on our coastline or airplanes dropping bombs over us. We don't have a physical invasion by their military. We have an economic invasion. Steve Johns and I worked in the FBI seeing that up close for decades now, of the Chinese stealing the technology, doing all of the things economically, politically, the money that they're contributing now to Democratic candidates or to members of Congress in the United States. That's the problem. The bigger problem is we don't see Chinese, Taiwan sees Chinese warplanes, but the United States doesn't. We're not going to see one. We're not going to see a Chinese bomber fly over Washington, D.C. and invade us or attack our military bases physically or do any of that, but just insidiously corrupt from within like they've done for decades. And that's why this book is a lifesaver type book, country saver. And I know it's difficult for a lot of people to read. I know when I started reading it, and the first part of the book was difficult because it was very tedious, talking about all the people. And, in 1920, this guy and that guy, and the next one, 21, 22, 23. And for me, it got more interesting when it got to the time where when Shivan talks in the book about elementary school and then going to the work camps, high school. And then that gets to be around the time, oh, wait a minute, I was about the same age. I was about, attending schools. And, and for me, the threat of communism or the Cold War came to light when I was in elementary school, and we did the duck and cover under our high school desks or grade school desks, because especially during 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis, I can remember being with my grandmother as she's praying, seeing President Kennedy on TV, scared that we're going to be attacked by nuclear weapons from the Soviet Union based in Cuba. And that was the big crisis at the time. Nobody thought about China. Nobody thought that the long run, and they didn't understand the philosophy of China, is they think in terms of about 1,000 years at a time. They're in no hurry. A very patient culture, very patient ideology, and they just figure in the long run, they will overcome everything else and take over. So I think that's the problem here. Convince Americans, are they going to read this book and actually see, wow, that could happen here? Or more importantly, the second half or the very last part of the book, where it says, it's not that it could happen here, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening now. And all of the things from DEI to trans and all of these stupid issues are designed to undermine our culture, undermine all the basics that Marx talked about, undermine the family, undermine our basic cultural values, undermine the desire to achieve excellence. You don't need excellence. Everybody's going to be equal. Everybody's going to get the same benefits from society. None of that's true. The only benefits go to, the elite. And for me, that started freshman year of high school reading Animal Farm, George Orwell's book, published 1949. The name of the book, 1984. And to me, the most famous line in the book is that you have the pigs and Snowball talking to Napoleon. The two pigs are talking, and the one pig says, all pigs are equal, but some pigs are more equal. And he was talking about the Soviet system at the time. The elite, the party members, the Politburo, they are more equal than the peasants, the workers, everybody else. Everybody's equal, not them. They're more equal. And I think that this is kind of what we're seeing now. And the embodiment of it, and I'm surprised in the last few years to see it really start to be controlled by the Democratic Party. I never thought, before we always saw the two parties were basically even, or they would trade positions or presidencies and all of that. You'll see that now. And you see what they're doing is now a really big push to undermine the country. And they use Trump as their poster child for evil, that's what they've got to do. And they're talking about that even now. The Democrats need to take power so they can impeach Trump in 2 years. So I think that, keep pushing, keep trying, keep lecturing, keep writing, keep educating. And that's something everybody needs. The people in this room, it's the old expression, you're preaching to the choir.
I know.
But the members of the choir can preach to other people, other neighbors, other people in the community, and say basically what you experienced growing up. Or they can say, you know, I have a friend, and this is what she went through growing up. And the rest of us, Americans my age, born and raised here, never experienced a war since, you know, we didn't live during the Civil War. And that's the last time, you know, we had bloodshed really on a military scale on US soil. We didn't grow up with that. We grew up with, you know, the TV shows at the time, Leave It to Beaver and Father Knows Best and America's Wonderful and everything was peaceful. And we didn't have these issues. And a lot of Americans, you know, people that worked in law enforcement or intelligence, like Steve and I, we saw under the hood. We saw the evil that lurked in society, but we were able to fight it at all these different levels. And now it's gotten so insidious and so political, you know, are we really able to fight it? And I think the shame was the last couple of years where the FBI was completely undermined by James Comey and Christopher Wray, and now trying to make a comeback, we'll see. But anyway, that's the story I wanted to talk about. Thank you for writing the book. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought you loved me.
I do love you. I love you both.
I have a question. Do the Chinese come out to vote? Do the Chinese come out to vote and participate in our elections? I'm just asking.
What Chinese? What Chinese?
People? No, just
national.
Okay. For like any of our elections. I mean,
Well, what do you mean, Chinese national?
No, well, we're talking Chinese right now. Okay. Well, my point is that, you know, our local elections, only like 10% of registered voters vote. So I'm saying we got to vote. That's one thing we could do too. So we got to get people to vote. And like this upcoming election on the redistricting, I mean, that's really important. So, I mean, everybody kind of got, that's like target there that we could do actually something about, that we need to do something about, is to vote, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just a Chinese thing.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not saying just Chinese.
But it's true. A lot of people don't bother to vote.
Yeah. I'm just saying that, you know, like the Republican Party, you know, we seem to be fairly small. But I know there's a lot of people out there, so I'm just saying people have to get a little more involved or at least vote. And I'm not saying that Chinese are not voting, but I'm just saying a lot of people are not voting.
A lot of people are not voting. That is the problem. Yeah.
So, you know.
So, and I think churches like this will do a lot of work to encourage people, to educate people to come out and vote. Yeah. But not only come out and vote for the right choice.
Right, exactly. And don't be deceived by the wording.
Because this is something that we have to understand. Communists are very good at community work.
Right.
Like Obama, right? He started with what? Community organization. That's what they do very well. They have been doing that. And they infiltrate every church. They infiltrate every organization, and they get all the people. They infiltrate student clubs to get students registered Democrats to vote. We don't have that. Republican just somehow not very good at it, because Republican is traditional. You know, they believe that it's an individual choice. They depend on they believe in individuals, but the communists don't do that. So Democrats are communists. They organize, and so we have to understand that. So in order to deal with them, we have to do the same. We have to organize. Right. And then, you know, here is one part of the effort. But you have to understand that. Yes. They absolutely organize everything. They mobilize everything. They went to temples. They went to mosque and mobilize.
I think that takes a lot of manpower. You know, like even like reaching out to the nursing homes and stuff.
They
went
there. Yeah.
I guess Republicans are, you know, people think, well, I'm working, I have no time.
Exactly.
So, you know, I don't know how the Democrats have all this time.
That is the challenge. That is
Yeah.
the challenge because they are attackers. They are the ones. They are revolutionaries, and also there's a lot of money there. You know that.
Right.
They buy votes. They pay for the protesters. So yeah, I don't know what you have to say. It's a challenge. That is always a challenge. But the sooner we understand we're dealing with communists, the better off we are. Because a lot of the Republicans still don't understand we're dealing with communists. It's no longer the old day, old-fashioned Democrats. They are now communists. It's sad, but it is true.
I think we come across each other. Okay. Glad to see you here.
I hope I answered your question. Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
One more question. Last question. We have a young man, younger generation actually want to share.
Who is young?
Yeah, the younger. He's relatively young, but I love.
He's the youngest. Probably.
Yeah, I love to see young people in our group.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't read your book, but I watch a lot of you online.
Okay.
So I guess this is from a perspective of someone. I'm Chinese American, so from the perspective of someone who's been through, and versus someone who only read what had happened. Mm. And what stood up from your talk was evilness. Like how clearly can you see it? Because for me, my political view started to shift. Like when I was in China, gone through the whole, I witnessed the Hong Kong protests and the COVID, how Chinese government handled the COVID situation. So that makes the evilness of CCP very vivid to me. And I just want to share something with you because it's about how resistant we are to trying to see evil. After I came back, I had a friend who's studying in US and then went back to China, living in Shanghai. So during the COVID, she was speaking out. So she got put in the little dark room, 小黑屋. And then she told me about it afterward, right? Even though I trust her, I couldn't come up with any reason that she's lying to me. But there's still part of me not want to believe that, even though I already been through Hong Kong protests and how China handled the COVID situation. I know all of that, but when it comes to someone that I know in real life telling me about it, it's still hard for me to believe it. So I just want to share that.
Actually, you can. 你看到他说的那些没有？你说不定你来回答。
你回答。
我回答。
师姐先说一下那个
Okay.
杰先生后来的后了。
Yeah, but this is important. And to actually, I think most people can agree with me. I think that right now it is the fight between freedom and communism, but more so it is the fight between good and evil. But a lot of people refuse to see evil. And I think the real reason is the church had failed. And the church has been infiltrated. And I just talked to the pastor he left a while ago. Yeah, and about seminaries. Do you know when were the seminaries went woke? Seminaries is where you train the pastors and then the ministers as early as 1920s. Okay, so the infiltration has started so early for so long, and they fail to teach people good and evil. They absolutely fail to teach what's good, what's evil. And then we are facing this really challenge that a lot of Americans don't see evil. And they see good as evil, they see evil as good. For example, those people, they protest on the street against ICE. you have to kind of admire them. Some of them get paid, some of them didn't. They took off like the Renee Good, put aside her son, went to the street and fight against the ICE. You have to say that and she has some kind of belief system going there, right? She believes she believed what she was doing. She believed she was fighting against evil for the good of the neighbors. And who are the neighbors? The illegals. So that is the thing that a lot of people don't understand, that we are fighting. The fight is between good and evil. And a lot of people, too many Americans, don't understand what is evil. And in your story, it's even a milder case that you know it. You kind of hesitate to admit it, right? Kind of. But to so many Americans, they don't even know what's good or what's evil. That is our challenge. And I think that's because the foundation of this country has been weakened so much. And what is that foundation? Christianity. That's how I look at it.
I wanted to just add to that too. I think part of the problem is the legacy of the McCarthy era.
Yeah.
So
because
of McCarthy making the mistake of saying he had a list of communists and never producing it, his message was shamed. He was shamed. And then ever since then, for the last 60, 70 years, ever since the 1950s, the culture and the political parties have kind of developed this message that as soon as you call someone a communist,
McCarthy is,
you're a crazy person.
Yeah.
So I think 5 years ago, I would never have ever thought, I mean, in my own mind, I've known ever since Obama became president that he was a socialist, and there is a communist threat in his person and in the people that he was putting in this administration. But I never would have come out and say that in an American group, because I knew the moment, if I come out and just say, Obama's a communist or Biden is serving communists, people would just ignore me. They would dismiss me because they thought that, oh, you're just a crazy person. That makes no sense. But I have seen a change in that.
Big change.
Year or two. I
Yes.
would say,
Yeah.
because they've jumped the shark. They've gone too far with some of these policies. They're just absolutely insane. And it's helping. It's helping. But
No, it's been a big change. When I started in 2021, calling everything communist, even my husband said, "Don't do that."
yeah, exactly.
They say that's McCarthyism, whatever. But I said that is communism because I came from communist China. What happened then happened here, and now look at now. Now people are using this word especially during the 2024 election. Trump called Kamala, Comrade Kamala, and called their policy communist. So, but
Obama said he wanted to fundamentally
transform America.
Why would
Yeah,
you say that?
yeah. Yeah, I know, but maybe you can say a few. 你说一下，就是这个现在这个就是这个 evil 啊，很多人认不清，就是他就是现在是不光是那个就是善与恶认不清，就把那个恶放到他前面，他也认不清。你说两句。美国社会说的是美国社会。对。
那我想特别谈一点，就是我跟谢姐，我们下一步可能要会写一本这个共产主义的这个思想怎么样渗透这个教会，像一个寄生虫一样进入到教会的这个集体里面。以我的经验，我在中国的时候，因为我作为一个基督徒或者我们家庭教会直接面对着中共的这个迫害的时候，我们知道。因为他们都每天都在迫害我们知道他是一个非常邪恶的，所以我们跟他斗争。但是当我到美国以后，参加美国的华人教会，也去这个白人为主体的这个教会，像我堂哥，他也是前几年就到美国，他现在在一个这个白人为主体的这个教会里面，他跟他们讲中共有多么邪恶，这些白人基督徒没有人知道。也没有人关心，他们觉得去中国旅游，看到北京、上海
挺好的，
非常好，比纽约还要繁荣，也没有看到有像当年这苏联的这古拉格，因为他们看不到。我想这种渗透，这非常可怕。这也是我后来我们像我妻子，她在美国的在当地的一个华人教会做传道人做了这个7年，但是后来我们这个离开这个教会，因为这个教会就完全被这个共产党的这些亲共的这个力量来这个渗透。像有教会的长老，他已经成为美国公民20年了，然后他的小孩在美国这个最第一流的大学毕业，现在在这个美军里面这个工作。他跟我聊天，他说我的第一身份是中国人，第二身份才是这个美国人。如果美国跟中国发生战争，他说我要让我的小孩为中国而战。
Oh my god！
教会的长老，这绝对不是这个孤立的这个个案，所以这个问题非常的这个严峻，所以我们还会这个不断的写书。
我觉得要不断的去演讲，你们光写这个书，我肯定会向我的朋友推荐。但是我感觉有一个问题是，我跟美国人讲这些的时候，他们觉得 overwhelming， 然后选择不听不看，躲起来，而且很多的中国人也是这样。
所以我跟你讲，最好的办法就是说对比，你给他讲什么中国迫害什么民权什么维权律师什么受迫害，他听了也听啊。这是 over there， 在那儿的事儿。所以说我的重点不是讲中国，我的重点我不是在这儿反中共，我是反美共，因为全部的问题都在这儿，全部的问题，他们对共产主义不认识，所以说共产主义换一个脸DEI 他就是DEI 挺好的。那都为大家好，他根本就不认识这些，所以我觉得当然你们就是特别是于杰先生，他对这个中共的那些写的那些书是非常有用，但是我的那个主要的这个目的不是来讲中共如何坏，而是说呢美共的威胁有多大，完了要把例子给他们举出来，你在这儿是这样的，中国做的是那样的，其实都是一回事儿。这样，所以我第一本书这么成功，就是是这么回事儿，结果他们那个黑命贵，跟那个文革那个是这么相同的，只有这样才能够唤醒他们。但我不说只有这样，这是比较好的一个途径，就是他们能够联系到。
网络上的人还是听英文的。直播的人。
Can you sum up in English? Yeah, I think that's a very good point.
What I just said?
Yeah.
What did I say? Okay, I think what I'm trying to say is that the best way to educate the Americans, the best way, not the only way, is not to tell the Americans how evil CCP is. Like the Korean, North Korean refugee, they tell how bad North Korea is. They say, oh yes, it's bad, but it's over there. It has nothing to do with us. We feel sorry. We feel sorry for the people in North Korea. That's not the best way. That's one way to understand, to help them understand the evil of communism. But the best way is to understand that the communism is here. It looks different. It does look different. And then what do? We tell them what's happening here, what happened to us in China. And it has a different name, it has a different environment, and it has different historical stage, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, right.
And it started like this, ended like this. That's why I think my first book is so successful, is I made that connection. I made two parallels. Happened in China, happened here. And they're the same. Not the only way, but the best way, I think.
Yeah. I understand.
And it's going on right now, in the different format, right? It's a board opening, and right now it's like a gerrymandering.
Mm-hmm.
This is how get the power. The power is what they are after. Then after they get our power, they control the media.
Yeah.
They go to the schools, brainwash people. So it's like a circle.
And
There's
then,
nothing new.
And then they will build Gulag.
We're waiting.
And actually, I have to tell you, the Americans and Chinese Americans need to also make sure they understand these two parallels. There's so many people from the pro-democracy movement. They came here as political asylum seekers. They are against the CCP, but they are voting for Democrats here. Tell me, explain this, because they never really understand the true nature of communism. Yeah. So if you are anti-CCP and you are Democrat, you are not anti-CCP. You are anti the CCP regime, but you're not anti-communism. So I don't call myself conservatives or Republican. I call myself anti-communist, because I think that's the real fight. The real fight. Even though we have threat from Islamism. I tell everywhere I went to when they interview me, I say without Marxism, Islamism can't make the kind of headway here. There's no way. The reason they can make it so far into American culture is under the protection of DEI, political identity, and all this Marxist BS. Without that, they're naked. They're naked. They can't really convince Americans that it is okay for them to do what they do, because now they're protected by Marxism, by communism. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Okay. So our event has only 5 minutes left.
Oh,
it's
fine.
very successful. It goes very fast. So in the other comments, we have make the time worthwhile. In the other comments and the other
other comments.
So I really want to say this is church. Sorry. I do feel like how to identify the evil. This is the discernment, like Holy Spirit. Give us wisdom, give us discernment, so we can identify. Look at their fruits. Regardless of what they say, they can say all the best. They can, because I think the reason they didn't attack America 100 years ago, because it was not their time. Because back then, America has value.
The foundation is
still strong right now.
Not anymore.
Right. Yeah. So I think we see the parallel. We see what happened. We definitely know where it's heading if we keep that way, if we don't speak up. So that's why let's read this. This is Psalm from Psalm chapter 12. You can pick your side, maybe English. Let's do it together. 耶和华，求你帮助，因虔诚人断绝了，世人中有忠信人没有了，人人向邻舍说谎，他们说谎是嘴唇油滑，心口不一。凡油滑的嘴唇和夸大的舌头，耶和华必要剪除。他们曾说，我们必能以舌头得胜，我们的嘴唇是我们自己的，谁能做我们的主呢？耶和华说，因为困苦人的冤屈和贫穷人的叹息，我现在要起来，把他安置在他所切慕的稳妥之地。耶和华的言语是纯净的言语，如同在银子在泥炉中炼过7次， 最后一句话，最后一段，我希望大家读2遍。耶和华，你必保护他们，你必保佑他们，永远脱离这世代的人。下流人在世中升高，就有恶人到处游行。耶和华，你必保护他们。主啊，求你保守希姐，保守于杰弟兄，保守一切敢于在这个世界上能够跟这个世界分离，能够说出这个处死，能够为神征战。主啊，你保佑他们，他们是永远脱离这世代，你已经把他们分离为圣。因为我们看到我们这个美国当下流人在世中升高，当他们掌权的时候，就有恶人到处横行。我们不能让美国走向我们100年前我们的国度走的那条路。美国是神的国度，我们要知道，我们神仍旧保守，仍旧怜悯这国的人。感谢主，祷告奉主基督耶稣的名，阿们。好，谢谢。
谢谢。
这个是你们教会的地址。
是。
哦，不知道。
买本书，要走了，马先生着急。
哦，
对。
你是对的吧？好，那个饶林，
小钱。
你名字？
梅里亚。
你就叫我签字吗？还是？
都行，签吧。今天买的这给我签个字儿。
就签个字。
签个字儿。
你有他的电话，你要这个。再聊一下，
谢谢啊，
谢谢。
对，那我我们再保持联系。我还欠你25块钱。
好，谢谢。那我们先走吧。
You don't take that.
I'm sorry.
You don't take just cash, right?
Just okay.
I'll come find you for some more. Just take $5.
Odell? Oh, you take them all?